And hi, Nawaf. We're very excited to have you and the eProcure team with us today. The first interaction that we had with eProcure was when we onboarded them in our corporate Sprint Accelerator program. However, now they've graduated and we'd like to know more about the team and their experience as a startup operating in the GCC and looking into entering the UAE. Today, I will be asking more personally related questions and not the usual questions that we use in our application form or throughout the program that we usually run. I would like to hear from you what motivates you to get up every morning.
Hi, Hana. Thank you for giving us this opportunity in startAD. It was an enjoyable experience. So, honestly speaking, what motivates me to wake up in the morning is one thing and one thing only. Is to achieve great things. This has been, within, my personality since I was in high school.
So Nawaf, throughout this life path that you have just mentioned, have you had anyone who has inspired you on your journey to entrepreneurship?
Yes, and there are many who actually inspired me to achieve, to be an entrepreneur in my entrepreneurial journey. One of them is my father. He's one of the inspirational people. You can learn from him, and how dedication and very important word I learned from him is persistence. So persistence is very important to wake up in the morning and continue to achieve your goals. This is these traits or quality of personalities. It's shared between all successful entrepreneurs historically. I'm talking. The most important trait is persistence. So wake up in the morning, go, continue. If you fail, you have to continue. So persistence is the word. Even if you face resistance from the other side of receiving or achieving your goal, you need to continue. But always remember, you need to be rational about, thinking what is exactly the right way to go. Example, sometimes, that's something, I learned from other entrepreneurs, obviously worldwide, like leaders in the market in Silicon Valley and all of that. What's really important, other than persistence, is pivoting, specifically as an entrepreneur. So in the beginning of your journey, if you find a way that this is not the correct path to go, pivoting is really a solution to find the path. And this is going to support in your persistence. That's the great what to do, which is pivoting and start. So that's what lots of inspiration I got from entrepreneurs like my father and other leaders in the market and historically.
Thank you, Nawaf. And what is the biggest mistake you are glad you actually made?
That's a tricky question. Yeah. So I've done mistakes, of course, and I'm proud of it because you have to learn from your mistakes. That's very important, because people who do not make mistakes, they don't learn a lot and they don't learn fast. That's very important. The biggest mistake I made, and I'm glad I made it, is obviously I left the career path track into entrepreneurship. That's not from my point of view. That's from the society point of view. If you think about the society itself, they're always thinking about go and take the career path, which is safe for you. You don't need to take that risk of entrepreneurial track. So that's why I said it's tricky in the beginning, because from me, I make mistakes, but not all of it. I'm glad of it, specifically for this one only, which is mistakes from the other side point of view. That's it.
And there's a myth about that entrepreneurs become their own boss and they have everyone working for them. Whereas reality is that entrepreneurs actually work for everyone and they're actually
exactly
on the clock. So how do you as an entrepreneur balance your time between your startup and personal priorities and passions?
That's very important question. Why? Because as an entrepreneur, when you find a startup, it's about the goal you want to achieve. If the goal was for you to, gain money, the main goal of, establishing a startup is to gain money, then don't you ever start a startup, because you need to have lots of, personality traits that support you in your entrepreneurial journey. One of it is you need to be, as I said, passionate, ambitious, and have persistence. All of this, you cannot have it as just a career path employee, because you have tasks to do and all of that. And you can go grow your career path and gain money easily. That's the easy way. As a startup, that's a different story. You need to have that trait of balancing your management of the startup and your personal life, and that's very important. As an entrepreneur, for me, I manage it very well by managing time, which is very important. You set the time. When is the right time to work, and when is the right time to for personal life? As an entrepreneur, you don't have a set time of work. An example, you don't have 45 hours to work a week, right? You're not limited to work 5 days a week. You can work anytime, any day, 24/7. That's what I say. So in the 24/7, you have a plenty of time actually to prioritize your startup management and your personal life. And that's not easy to do actually, because you need, as I said, to be rational, very rational when you take decisions on what is the best time to go and manage your startup, and when to give time to your personal life and family life, obviously.
Time management is key.
Time management is the key, exactly. That's the answer.
And from your experience, what would you say are some low-risk ways to enter a new market for an ambitious startup?
First of all, specifically if you're in the technology space as a startup, you can actually test any market before you, specifically in these days, the ecosystem is really growing globally and regionally in the GCC market as well, or the MENA region. You can actually go and test any market before you enter it. That's the very lowest risk, which is by targeting digital marketing ads, by emails, contact them directly, see if their customers are already there for you, they want to use your product, and that's very important. Another thing, which is obviously is available in the internet, you need to read more about the country from lots of perspectives. One of it is, for example, you can meet people through, for example, social media channels there, start asking questions about actual perspective of that market. If you are, for example, in the B2C, ask consumers. If you are in B2B, for example, business to business, ask businesses there, how do they conduct their business? If you are actually connecting with government officials, see how can you connect with them and asking them about, okay, I am an international entrepreneur, how can I access? So start gather the information yourself, and that's the lowest risk you can take before enter any market. That's something we do, obviously. We have a huge background in establishing businesses in UAE. We have a business existing in UAE, and we understand how exactly cross-country relationship work when you want to enter a new market. And one of the main reasons, which is very important, you don't always find a partner in that specific area. You can work alone actually by doing so much discovery. If you still feel the risk, the other way is to find a local partner so he can work in the beginning with you in establishing that market share there.
To follow up on your answer, have you noticed any difference between partnering with a large organization through a Sprint Accelerator program, like the corporate Sprint Accelerator, versus through the usual direct classical engagement?
Yeah, honestly speaking, I think the best way to partner with large organizations is to have an introduction at least. That's very important. So if I went to myself and go to the large organization discussing with them, the sales cycle would be longer because I have to go the whole hierarchy until I reach decision makers. Great. And sometimes I succeed, sometimes you don't, because there's always politics in large corporations. Very important to manage it. However, if you have an introduction, specifically through Sprint Accelerators or through friend or through colleague that can introduce you to this large corporation, it's much faster, much better, and the chances of closing a deal is much higher.
And how do you see eProcure transforming the UAE?
Specifically, an eProcure case, we believe 100% in terms of business-to-business transactions or business-to-business activities, specifically in the MENA region. it's still at early stages. Why? Because we think more than 90% of businesses today, based on our surveys, are conducting their businesses offline, and even maybe in minimal digital needs. The problem is there is a huge gap in the market, that's underserved market through SMEs. We think we're going to transform how UAE business communicate, trade, and pay with companies, between companies B2B. That's very important. So the transformation is we're going to transform the corporate purchasing behavior with tools like procurement, supply chain, finance, and many tools that will transform and simplify and automate the way how businesses work together.
Thank you, Nawaf. And what is the one thing you wish was different about the way blockchain market is evolving?
Yeah, it's very important for us. In eProcure, we actually believe a lot in blockchain currently and in the future. This is a great technology that will transform, how internet works, even not businesses. It's the whole ecosystem will change because of blockchain technology. We are from the first believers and adopters of blockchain technology in the region. And the one thing that we think it's much be different in how the blockchain adoption works in the market is very important, that through governments and the private sector. So there is a slow and understanding of the technology itself, and that's very, very important, because one part of the change is to actually the education itself, to actually educate the market itself about how important is this technology, to adopt it and transform. If you can replicate that to other markets, you see other technologies are moving faster than blockchain. So one thing is very important, as I said, is education. So that needs collaboration between private sector and public sector to transform and enable that technology. That's one very important thing. And people actually today, with the hype of the media, discussing a lot about cryptocurrency. Great. So cryptocurrency is something totally different on what is exactly the blockchain technology itself, because blockchain technology is an infrastructure. You can use it on top and build many applications other than cryptocurrency. Great. I think personally myself, cryptocurrency is a great thing. It will transform obviously the financial instrument market, on exchange, the exchange market basically, on how to exchange things using cryptocurrency. This is obviously a futuristic thing. And we believe in eProcure, if the cryptocurrency market is legalized around the world, this will accelerate even our growth, because it will complete the whole ecosystem. What we're using currently in eProcure is part of the blockchain technology. And one most important part is the exchange itself of the digital currency. And that's something I believe if the public sector or the governments, specifically in the MENA region, start to adopt that cryptocurrency and find a way to legalize it and make it more a legal way of exchange between companies, even not only consumers as well.
Mm-hmm. And since we're talking about the future, what applications of the blockchain technology are you the most excited about? You've discussed crypto, but what other applications, future thinking, are you most excited about?
Of course, one of the most important thing we're investing in eProcure today is, in blockchain and supply chain. So it's very important. Blockchain and supply chain will transform the industry forever, because today in eProcure, we're still, we just started, we're just beginning, we haven't done anything yet. Even though we have achieved great things thanks to God since inception. However, we still continue developing our technology, going to our vision. What I'm excited about this blockchain supply chain is the full capability of the entire ecosystem. Enabling blockchain with technologies like AI, machine learning, and IoT will make the whole supply chain visible, less riskier, and much easier for all people around the world to reach it. And more, that's the meaning of accessible. That's why I'm very excited about this application, specifically in supply chain. Other things, which is not in part of our initiatives in eProcure, is the insurance industry. That's very important. In the insurance industry, if you used insurance and real estate, obviously, if you used the tokenization methods and used lots of features in the blockchain backend and infrastructure, you can actually transform on how actually you exchange documents, exchange even deeds and real estate deeds I'm talking about. It's going to be much faster, much easier, and this will lead to the economy to be moving faster. Because if you imagine the economy, what is exactly the economy? Economy is a market, right? And each market is connected through cycles, and these cycles need to be moving so the economy can grow and start, achieving growth each year, which is very important for all economies around the world. For blockchain itself, technology itself, I think it will solve a lot of problems in terms of the economic growth in all economies around the world.
Thank you, Nawaf. We're looking forward to building a better future with you, eProcure team, and everyone on the CSA program. Thank you.
Thank you, Hana. Thank you.